Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
And we're joined tonight by Rachel Shabby and Bobby Friedman. Thank you very much for being here. So, the Sunday Times, Whitehall War Games second referendum.
Yes, so a couple of Brexit stories on the front page of the Sunday Times. One is that that civil servants have started contingency planning for a second referendum, and obviously that comes on the back of the protest today that we'll see on the front page of the Observer in a moment. Also on the front page here, Tories tell May she has 72 hours to save her job. This is coming up ahead of the 1922 committee backbench Tory MP committee meeting on Wednesday, where Theresa May is going to address them. What's being reported here is that for there to be a leadership contest, there need to be 48 MPs who send letters to the head of that committee, and apparently the number is at 46. And it's saying that she's entering the killing zone. But in some ways, you wonder whether actually this might strengthen Theresa May's position, because it's all part of the war games that are going on, trying to work out what to do. Because if there is a leadership contest now, in my view, I think Theresa May would win it. It would need 159 Tory MPs to vote to get rid of her. And with the negotiations over Brexit at this point, I think it would be pretty catastrophic to do that. There's no obvious replacement either. And so what that means is she would then get a year's immunity if she won that contest. That would keep her, obviously, in post until pretty much the end of 2019, which is, I imagine, as long as she really sees herself staying in office anyway. So this is all a very tricky situation for Tory MPs trying to work out what to do. And the best thing in Theresa May's favour is that there is no clear route to getting rid of her and no clear alternative.
Rachel?
Yeah, I think all of that sounds right. It's certainly the case that, you know, they might have enough signatures to trigger a vote of confidence in her. So they're at 46 MPs apparently have sent a letter to the 1922 committee, which is meeting this Wednesday.
And being described as a show trial.
Yeah.
She's going to appear before.
Yeah. We've had rumblings like this repeatedly for the last year, at least. There have been constant threats to hand in more and more of these letters. However, those numbers haven't changed. There still aren't enough Conservative MPs for her to lose that contest. She would survive it. And so I think these noises, it just seems like you try and figure out what the strategy is. Is it to constantly undermine her? Because they obviously don't have the power to actually follow through on these threats, right? They don't have the numbers to succeed. So then what is the point of constantly talking about doing this?
Let's have a look at the front of the Mail on Sunday now, talking about that so-called show trial and saying one senior plotter shockingly tells her, bring your own noose.
Yes, some pretty horrific language there. I mean, inside the Mail on Sunday, they have what they call a manifesto from David Davis. And I think that's the big sort of story of the week in terms of the manoeuvring, that the rebel Tories seem to be pivoting away from Boris and towards David Davis. You see,
and so this manifesto is what, his alternative plan? Yes,
and we haven't seen those pages, but from the description on page 2 of the Mail, it says it includes a thinly veiled threat to ban European airliners from British airspace in the case of a no-deal exit from the EU, which, frankly, if that is the plan, sounds like a pretty bonkers way of trying to persuade people that you're a sensible alternative. And as I was mentioning before, the Conservatives, if they're going to get rid of Theresa May, I think are sensible enough to know that they would need to have something ready to go and in place. And the Mail on Sunday is talking about David Davis trying to go on a joint ticket with Boris Johnson. But I have to say, even if they come up with that joint ticket, how is that going to win support across the Conservative Party? Because apart from the ERG group of MPs on the right, that is going to put fear into moderate Conservatives. And again, I think that's Theresa May's great strength, that she has kept this show on the road. She's managed to somehow keep everyone unhappy, but just happy enough. And I don't see that changing.